I did eat
Already on.
enchiladas.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Rock Fantasy Files. Tonight we put together a band panel of, and with a couple one newcomer to the show, and we're going to talk about Mighty Scorpions tonight, the German rock sensation heavy metal band. And I'm going to read my notes because I'm not very good with remembering everything. But you know, in the early days they were kind of like progressive rock, almost like an acid rock band, and they turned into like this great, classic rock band. And then in the 80s becoming really popular, almost Journey like in the 80s, like almost like Kiss type songs and rockers and incredible ballads. Band you could hear in the radio or the doctor's office even with some of it with ballads or whatever. And then seeing them playing with the heaviest acts on tour in North America. Of course, they had the super hit, The Winds of Change. They really hit the mainstream with that. And of course, we're here to talk Scorpions. We've got a bunch of people in the room tonight. We got Robin Mason, one of our regulars from Gruesome, Derkata, and manager to the Heavy Metal Stars, I call her every week. And John McAtee from the Mighty Incantation, another one of our regulars. We got Steve Levin down there from Rock Fantasy, a longtime employee of my shop. First timer tonight in the center square on my screen, we have Tony, Dio, Leonard. Just a big fan of Rock Fantasy Files, Sea of Tranquility, and we wanted to have him on for an episode. We got John Gaffney back from the Lair of the Alchemist. And we got Will Carroll, drummer from Death Angel. And we got Denny Sasquatch Barth from Aggression. He's on mute right now, so we can't hear him. So
He has a new song out right now, right?
Scorp?
Yeah, it sucks.
No, it's killer.
No,
And a killer video. It was a good video. So check out the new Aggression song. I don't remember the title offhand, but the video, something poison, something.
Poisonous Potion.
Yeah, that was it. Poisonous Potion. It's a cool video. So check it out.
Cool. So
Yeah,
check
my
that
daughter,
out.
my 16-year-old daughter did it with her iPhone.
That's awesome.
So,
You gotta
I
do what
think-
you gotta do.
Yeah.
so
You gotta
Sasquatch.
make be with the budget you have, right?
All right,
$100.
we're going to get some of our German heavy metal roots together, and we're going to start talking about the Scorpions. And Steve Levin, you want to go first?
Sure, I could do that if you'd like. That's would be an honor. Hello,
All right,
everybody.
cool. Welcome.
Always great to be here. Have a great time. Look forward to this every week. So,
Cool.
what
Glad
can
you
be
could
said?
a part of it.
Scorpions. I mean, I got into the Scorpions at a pretty young age, I would say. Probably right around 1978, I was exposed to the live album, and that was just one of those things that you saw the album cover, and much like Unleashed in the East, you were just kind of blown away. You're like, man, look at these guys on stage. They're like this, like having a good time. They look sick. The song titles look cool, and you pick it up and you're like, wow, these guys are like stupendous. And of course, that was back in the Uli days, and can't really say enough about Uli Jon Roth, especially if you're a guitarist, because he was doing something that nobody was doing back then. Before Randy Rhoads was doing that neoclassical style, before Yngwie, of course, he was really putting classical style music into these rock and roll songs, which was pretty amazing. And some of those leads, I mean, I've been playing forever, and some of those leads I still can't play right. I can kind of do them, but not the way that Uli does it. And later on, he went on to play in Electric Sun after he left the Scorpions, and I think he really kind of followed more of his dream of being more of a Hendrix style player than what the Scorpions were pursuing at that time. So if I was going to pick a few songs from the Uli days, one of my favorite songs, hands down, which is pretty politically incorrect, it probably wouldn't get released today, is Virgin Killer. That song is it was almost thrash before thrash metal. I mean, if you listen to that, that was, it was like almost like speed metal, even before the new wave of British heavy metal was even going down. And I'm sure that influenced many, many players, that style. And his lead is just, it's just sick. He does a lot of tremolo stuff. And that song, more than anything, really blows me away on that album. I love that. And then another couple songs I really love were, of course, everybody's going to say this one, was Sales of Sharon, because, the lead he does in that is just, it's going to, anybody that plays guitar or anybody that just is into music, that lead is, it's really something special. It's just something that's a lot of guys really can't do, and certainly at that time, almost nobody was doing. And also on the same album, you had probably my favorite Scorpion song, another one that was almost like thrash metal before thrash metal was coming out, and that's He's a Woman, She's a Man.
Yeah.
You know, you can't say enough about how heavy that song is for the time. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Virgin Killer came out in 76, and Taken by Force came out in 77. And honestly, I mean, you can't really name many bands that were as heavy as they were back then. You know, I mean, Priest was certainly doing some heavy stuff, and Deep Purple was more on the classic rock kick at that time. And I mean, of course, you got Kiss too. And but man, I mean, Scorpions were doing it almost on a whole different level, and especially with Klaus's. I mean, his vocals. He's still one of my favorite vocalists to the day.
Oh yeah.
Other Uli songs that I'd like to mention are off In Trance, Dark Lady, another one of those songs where just his lead is crazy. He does this crazy tremolo inspired lead. And honestly, that's why today almost, I mean, actually I'm sorry. I do have one guitar that doesn't have a tremolo on it, but all other 8 guitars I have tremolos on them. And all the ones that had just regular tail pieces, I ended up getting rid of because you have to have that tremolo playing in the style of Uli, which was just something that, you know, I mean, just blew my mind. And then if we're going to jump over to when they changed over to Matthias Jabs, who was a much type of player. He had some crazy shoes to fill, but he did a really job because he didn't try to emulate Uli, but he did his own thing. And I mean, he has the chops too. What can you say? The guy's really a great player. And songs I mentioned from his catalog, probably my favorite song, Another Piece of Meat. The first time I heard that was on Castle Donington released the live album Monsters Rock Festival from 19.
Yeah.
And they did Loving You Sunday Morning, which is another one of my favorite songs on that, and Another Piece of Meat. And those 2 songs are great. That album also has the title track Love Drive and Coast to Coast, which is another one that is just instrumental, but just really kind of takes you on a journey, which is what a lot of their earlier songs did at that time. After that, jumped over to Animal Magnetism, and that was maybe a little bit more poppy with songs like Make It Real and Falling in Love. But the 2 songs on that album that blew my mind were The Zoo and Animal Magnetism, because it closed that album out with this atmosphere that's almost unheard of in that kind of music. They were really doing like, I mean, Animal Magnetism has such like a weird groove to it. And if you actually listen to what's going on, it's just, to this day, I still listen to it and I just kind of bug out on it. It's something I really love to listen to with headphones on because it's just very atmospheric. And then quickly jumping over to the Blackout album. My favorites on that were Blackout and China White and the song Now. And then to be honest with you, Scorpions lost me a little bit after that. I kind of moved on to heavier type of stuff. And you know, I was exposed to a lot of it from working at the store because you had a great love for the Scorpions.
Oh, yeah,
and you,
for sure.
You know, you'd play a lot of the latter day stuff. And then I realized like, wow, you know, some of those deep cuts on those albums were really good. Not so much the popular songs that you would actually hear. And so, you know, that was cool because I actually did learn a little bit more about some of the latter day stuff. But for me personally, it's always going to be that younger stuff, the stuff I was listening to when I was in high school, even junior high school, because man, I mean, they were just something, like I said, that was above and beyond. The only group I could really put that was doing equal to what they were doing at that time would be Judas Priest. You know, they were the. So, yeah, that's really all I have to say right now. If we get back, I'm sure I can come up with some other good stuff to
we'll
say.
Come back and get a closing statement from you. But I guess someone hasn't been on the show for a while. He's been busy actually performing some music, which is good to hear. Will had a pretty rough year last year, and it's good to have Will back and good to see him out playing.
Hey, what's up?
Freaking metal. And I know you're a Scorps guy, and I'm glad you took time to join us tonight.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. Like I said, this month is pretty wide open, so I should be back again. But my list is almost identical to the list he just read for Uli, at least. Let me put my glasses on here. But I sailed to Sharon. I love Catch Your Train. That's the first Uli song I ever heard. I got into the Scorpions in '82 when Blackout came out. And
Uh-huh.
it was maybe like a year later, I finally started hearing 70s Scorpions. And the first song I ever heard was Catch Your Train. And it sounded like a completely different band than what I was listening to,
Yeah.
you know, and it was. And I was just fucking blown away by it. So Catch Your Train has a special place in my heart. The solos are frantic on that song. They're crazy. Dark Lady, another great one. And Virgin Killer, the song Virgin Killer. Like he said, it's like pre-thrash kind of. And Claus Blind's vocals on that song, he's just screaming. I'm guessing that's the song that blew his throat out because he was never quite after Virgin Killer. Like, each album was a little less, it seemed like. But anyways, what other Uli song I want to do? I've Got to Be Free off of Taken by Force. I love that song, man.
Oh,
Heavy,
yeah.
great. And with Matthias Jabs, as much as I love Uli, I think I like Matthias Jabs a little bit more. I just love his 80s flashy style, and it fits later Scorpions perfectly. It was like a seamless transition. Even though on Love Drive, I think Michael Schenker plays most of the leads on that, right? But
that's what I heard. Yeah, I wasn't sure exactly what track. Somebody else in the program may know exactly what tracks that Schenker did on it. But.
Well, I was gonna say the one that Steve said, Another Piece of Meat, I think was Michael Schenker, if I'm not mistaken.
Coast to Coast and Love Drive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So that song, Another Piece of Meat's on my list. Because I like the fact that Herman Rarebell co-wrote that song. I think that's the first song he brought to the band, and it's just so heavy. And Herman Rarebell is usually involved in the heavier songs, at least in the first 3 albums he's on. Taken by Force and Love Drive. Even on Animal Magnetism, the heavier tracks, he has a writing credit on. So I totally respect that. Not enough drummers write songs or write music. So it's fucking cool, man. And he co-wrote Rock Like a Hurricane. Not that song's not on my list, but pretty big accomplishment right there, Other Matthias songs, my favorite one is Arizona. That's my favorite Scorpion song.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
It's shocking me, man.
That song makes that state bearable. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm joking. I love Arizona. But the song is it reminds me of being on a hot desert night or something. And it really just takes you to another place. And it's just such a feel-good song. I love it, man. And the leads and throughout the whole song are incredible. Matthias is going off of that song in a very melodic, slow kind of way, methodical, but it's fucking awesome. I love it. What else? I like Coming Home a lot off of Love at First Sting. That's probably that's the heaviest song on the album, or maybe Same Thrill, like the last 2 songs on side 1. I love that album. That's the last album I was into by the Scorpions. I jumped ship after that. Savage Amusement was just, there's nothing good on that album. I mean,
that's terrible.
Yeah, totally. And I guess like they never really got my attention again after that. But I've seen them, I saw them on the last tour they did with Megadeth, and they were incredible. But Mickey D has a big part in that, though.
Mickey D brought so much to the table, man. He brought a big suitcase to that table.
Totally. You can't suck with Mickey D behind the drums. Unless maybe Don Dokken. That solo album sucked. No matter who was playing drums. People forget that, though, that Mickey D was on the Don Dokken solo album. That was the first thing he did after King Diamond. Diamond Motorhead.
But Mickey D might have forgot too. I don't know. I'm sure.
Yeah, right. I love Now off of Blackout. That's my favorite song on that album. So heavy, and they just stopped writing songs like that after Blackout for some reason. It sucked. But for ballads, I love Lady Starlight. That's one of my favorite Scorpion songs ever. Yeah. I like Holiday, and Still Loving You is a cool one too. So
it is.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I got to say about the Scorps for now.
All right, cool. Who are we gonna move over to next? I think we're gonna go to the center square on my screen tonight. Is Tony Dio Leonard joining us from North Carolina.
Yep.
Welcome.
Well, I kind of got into the Scorpions. It was kind of 82, 83 was a really big turning point for me getting into music. I was like 13, 14 years old, and kind of getting out of Kiss and Foghat and stuff that I was into, and just starting to discover new bands. And I got into some new wave and radio stuff and all. Then I started buying Hit Parader and Circus magazines because I got into Van Halen, and it just opened my world up to all these heavy metal and hard rock bands that were new and coming out. And I saw this photo of the Scorpions in like a Hit Parader. And then some of you may remember this photo. It's a black and white photo of the band, and they're posing, and they're all like screaming, and they're leaping off the ground. One of them's got his leg kicked up in the air, and they're all like, crazy. I was like, these guys must be the most crazy band in the world, And so fast forward a few months, the US Festival happens in California.
Yeah.
And I think Circus magazine covered that, and the photos from the Scorpions, they're all laying on the stage and standing on top of one another and posing. I'm thinking, these guys are crazy. I have got to check this band out. So that summer, we finally get cable TV where I'm at. We get MTV, and No One Like You video is in pretty heavy rotation. You see it a couple times a day. So that was like the deciding factor. I had to go out and get that album. So I went out and got Blackout. Loved it. So kind of going backwards from me was getting into the 80s stuff first. And No One Like You is one of my favorite Scorpion songs. I mean, I know it's overplayed, but it's just an excellent song. The guitar solo, it's just a great song. I mean, it can kind of be a little bit of a ballad, and then it just kicks in, with the heavy parts. Also from the Blackout album, I really like the song Dynamite. I thought that was really cool. The lyrics are hilarious. The sexual innuendo lyrics that they did. I think Will was talking about Herman. I read Herman's book, and he talks about he was a little better with English than the rest of the guys, so he helped write a lot of the lyrics. But you got to wonder, some of them are just so funny, the lyrics, when you go back and read them and so forth. But and then from there, of course, I get into Love at First Sting. I got a few props here I'll show.
Cool, please.
Love at First Sting, great record, but if you bought it from Kmart, you got that cover.
I have that album cover right here.
And they wouldn't sell that one at Kmart, so you had to get the.
I totally remember that.
But got into Love at First Sting, so was really into that record when it came out, and I mean, Still Loving You, just a great song, great ballad. I saw them on that tour. It's the first time I ever saw them. Bon Jovi opened. They were a new band. Nobody knew who they were. I remember standing in line to get in the show, and someone said, "Who's opening the show tonight?" Some guy said, "Some band from France called Bon Jovi." but it was a cool show. And the funny thing is, I didn't see the Scorpions again until probably 1999, I think it was. They toured with Motley Crue, and they came through, and it was a long time in between seeing them.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but I also love the Love Drive album. Just great album. And Michael Schenker is my favorite guitar player, and like I said, he plays on a lot of songs on there. I mean, the chug of the song, the title track, Love Drive, it's got a cool chug about it. And Coast to Coast is just such a brilliant instrumental. Love to watch them when they play that live, and Klaus comes out and plays guitar with them and everything. It's great. They always just put on such a great show. But I had a friend who had gotten into older Scorpions, the 70s stuff. He kept saying, "You need to check this stuff out. You really dig it." So I got some of those best of Scorpion CDs through like the BMG Record Club or something. It was a couple of volumes and stuff. Yeah, there you go. So that opened up my world to something that I had just never checked out. I remember seeing those records and the early stuff and just never checked it out. And so from that period, I mean, Taken by Force is probably my favorite from that period. And the song Will Burn the Sky is just, it's an awesome tune.
Amazing.
That one was written actually by Monica Danneman, I think her name is. She was Jimi Hendrix's last girlfriend. She wrote the lyrics to that song, and she was Uli Jon Roth's wife, girlfriend or wife.
Okay.
And but that's my probably one of my top 5 Scorpion songs of all the periods. I love that song. And I saw them on the I think it was the 2002 or 3 tour where they toured with Dio and Deep Purple. and they actually started playing Will Burn the Sky on that tour again, because I don't think they did a lot of the 70s stuff during the 80s and 90s.
They really didn't touch.
Way.
They really didn't touch anything pre-Love Drive in the States for many, many years. And from what I gather, Claus was because we never really released those albums in the States. When we started touring, we wanted to play stuff from the tour. But what was it, Return to Forever or Sting in the Tail? Or the last one, didn't they do a medley? Will, I think on the last tour of some of
They
the
did do a medley on the Megadeth tour. Yeah.
Mhm.
They
It was
did play
awesome.
some older stuff.
I
And
saw
the
a
year
video of
before-
that. That's cool. Yeah, it's good to know, because I mean, it's so many people have rediscovered that early stuff. It's actually probably more popular now than the 80s stuff with a lot of people.
It could be.
I also love from that period. I mean, the Fly to the Rainbow album. Oh, there you go. I got this Fly to the Rainbow. Love that, man. Speedy's
Awesome.
Coming. Great song. It's about. I've never understood if it's about a rock and roll fan named Speedy, or if it's Speedy the person that the fan is singing about. Is Speedy the rock star, or is it the fan? But it's it's talking about, do you like Alice Cooper and Ringo Starr and David Bowie? It's naming all the acts of that period. That's kind of cool. And then from Entrance, the title track, Entrance, is one of my favorite Scorpion songs as well. Just a great ballad. Kicks in about pretty much he did a little too much partying the night before, and he's trying to get going, and he's probably got a terrible hangover, and he wrote this song. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the band Night Demon from California. They did a really good cover of that.
Oh, so good.
They played the festival somewhere in Germany, and Uli Roth came out and played on stage with them, and they did the song. They recently released it as a 7-inch picture disc.
They played it at the Death Angel Christmas show when they opened up also.
Oh,
That's right. That's right.
Night Demon is a great band, but they're also like an incredible cover band. Their choices of covers are always great.
Right.
Then we get into, I like Pictured Life. I really like that song. That's another one with a funny lyric. It's just where he says, into the rock of all, I think he says, into the rock of all the red dreams. For years, I thought he said of all the wet dreams until I finally read the lyrics to it, But of course, the Scorpions, that was a pretty controversial cover. We won't show the whole cover here. That we got.
That's a pretty 70s.
How they got away with that, we'll never know. And Catch Your Train from that album, I really like that one. That's got a lot of positive lyrics in it about, stay focused, don't be lazy, set a goal, go after it. That was a really cool song for them to have.
Oh, sure.
Talking about album covers too, I'll show you something else here weird from my
They
collection.
definitely weren't selling that Virgin Killer album at Kmart, obviously.
No.
They weren't. So you've got on your Love Drive cover, the famous Love Drive cover, they did a censored version of that. It had
Yeah, there was.
Well, I found this cassette a couple of years ago, and I think it's a Polish bootleg. The label is UFO Records, but they actually drew a dress onto
Wow.
the girl.
I had to put my
An
glasses
Ace Frehley
on.
costume or something here is what
Yeah,
it looks
I
like.
see that.
Yeah, but it's pretty funny. I saw this. I was like, I gotta have this. This is just cheap.
Yeah, it was a collector's piece for sure.
Yeah. But that's pretty much my top 10 from the two different periods.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
We'll kick back to you in a little bit, and I guess we're gonna move over to Mr. John Gaffney. Second time on the channel, and thanks for joining us. And he has a channel called Lair the Alchemist, and he does a podcast with Black Sabbath, and great.
Yeah, thank you for having me back. I love the Uli Roth era of the Scorpions. Richie Blackmore is my favorite guitar player of all time, and he has that neoclassical thing going on, as does Uli. One of my best Scorpions live memories, actually it's an Uli memory, was on the very first 70,000 Tons of Metal cruise.
Nice.
Uli was on. He played a set very late at night in a lounge on the boat. The boat was rocking like mad, so a lot of people just retreated to their rooms. I wasn't going to miss Uli. There was no stage in the lounge. There was maybe 50 people there. I sat in a chair like this, and Uli was maybe 10 feet in front of me, and I just sat there while he played the whole time, and it was just absolutely incredible. And then the next morning, I met him in line at the breakfast buffet and got to talk to him for a little bit, and so that was just absolutely awesome because I love Uli and his style and everything. So from the Taken by Force album, I picked, here's, the Scorpions, they always have sometimes these slightly awkward song titles. Suspender Love. I love the groovy kind of rock and roll rhythm of it. Klaus is all like seductive and sly with his vocals. And I love the chorus in the song, the way it drops, like it modulates down, and they do the "You'll be the front page girl" on. I just love that chorus.
Yeah.
All right, from In Trance, I picked the song Top of the Bill. I love the main riff in this. It's a really kind of minor key, heavy sounding riff. Uli's got all kinds of fills and licks that he kind of throws in, and Klaus's vocal delivery on it, it almost sounds like he's like getting ready to distort, like he's singing kind of an old-fashioned microphone or something. So I always dug that. Of course, I'll mention Sails of Charon. That was the first 70s era Scorpions I heard. Being a huge Randy Rhoads and Blackmore fan, I heard that and that like Phrygian classical mode thing that he was doing on the guitar. I was just like all in. I'll also say the title track from this, Fly to the Rainbow. There's some really awesome guitar playing all over this. I love this sort of mellow intro. It's got a lot of nice dual harmony guitar things, which is something you don't, you kind of think of the Scorpions. Rudolf Schenker is more of a rhythm player, but when the Scorpions play harmonies, guitar harmonies, I always thought it sounded really cool. So, all right, moving on to the Matthias Jabs era. I am going to pick the title track here from Blackout. Nice. I just love that rhythm guitar sound, man. When that kicks in, that is an awesome guitar sound. And Matthias, almost this whole song, he's playing like, he's soloing. He's playing like crazy fills and everything through the whole verse, dive bombs and harmonics and everything. It's just an awesome song, awesome album opener. Matthias sounds amazing on it. I'm gonna admit it, I'm a fan of super melodic rock type songs. So from this one, I picked, from Love It for a Sting, I picked I'm Leaving You. Nice. I love the chorus in it. Keep me in your mind till I come. I think that's great. Love it. And I'm going to pull one now. I'm like most everybody else here. I got off the Scorpions boat after Love It for a Sting. Savage Amusement was just, no, I couldn't get into that. But I stumbled across this album, got it used somewhere on CD, Hour One. Awesome ballad on here. Again, I
love that album.
Sucker for melodic stuff. The Future Never Dies. It's just great. It's got piano in it. It's got these modulating choruses. It's just like a really very, very well-written pop ballad. And for my other thing for the ballads, I know everybody else said it, but I got to go to Still Loving You. In my opinion, it's mid-'80s melodic ballad before the metal bands started to get cheesy with their ballads. That part in the song where he goes, "If you give me a chance, I'm still loving you." Where he goes up high on that last chorus is just absolutely epic. It's a total lighter in the air song. Just that song just brings me back to the 80s. And what can be good about when you write a really good ballad, how effective it can be. So yeah, there you go.
I can remember them when they played that here in Middletown. It was around this tour, around the Worldwide Live, and they came out and he did the Still Loving You, and of course everybody's got their lighters up, and then and you remember on this album, I heard it so many times where you see the microphones in the air, you see them, and then of course he would change to the very end at the very end of the song where he's still loving you wherever he is, and it was like still loving you Middletown.
Yeah, I'm still loving you, Ken. Yeah,
loving you.
It's funny, Uli at the breakfast buffet line, because I met him on that same cruise because Death Angel played that year as well.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
I met him at a different buffet line. I think it was like the pizza buffet, and he still had his guitar on. He still had his guitar on, and he was getting fucking food and shit. I'm like, damn, man.
Well, Will, if you remember on that cruise, the first set he did was in the lounge and nobody was there because it was like 2 a.m. The boat was like rocking like crazy. The second set he did was on the pool deck.
That's the one
and the singer from Testament came up and sang with them. They sang Sails of Sharon.
Oh, wow.
And I remember he said something like, we didn't rehearse this, but hey, this is the way we did things in the 70s. We just jammed. We just went And in the audience for that pool deck set, every freaking band was up there and everybody was there. All the guitar players were there because it was just like a sign of respect. I mean, everybody wanted to hear Uli, and all the bands were there. Everybody was quiet, kind of, watching Uli, and it was absolutely amazing.
Totally.
Cool.
All right, those are my picks.
Thank you. I got to see Uli on the Scorpions Revisited tour, where he was doing all the classic Scorps, which was great, up at the Chance in Poughkeepsie. I saw that tour up there.
He plays the bass all the time, man. Like, he has a big following in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And he comes like every couple of years, it seems like. It's pretty often, considering how old he is. And
when he played the Chance that night, it was like a night that I got up there, and the Chance usually a headliner's going on around 11 tops. He didn't go on to like 1:30 in the morning. I was like, holy crap. Yeah.
Wow.
It was like like we were in the 70s seeing Uli playing.
That was the tour when they did only the old Scorpion stuff. I seen that one too.
That one might have been where he played a mixture. I think it was Scorpions Revisited. I know I saw him a couple times, and I know I saw him a couple times at the Chance, because he does play the Chance quite often.
Yeah, because I seen him, and I can't remember if it was somewhere between 2015 and 17. I seen him in, I don't know, it's a town called Thorpe, PA, or John Thorpe. I don't know what the hell this place is, but I lived in Pennsylvania for a while, never heard of it. But he was playing there. I went to the show. It was like in the wintertime. And I remember getting snowed in at the hotel I was staying at there. But
that venue is a club that was on the very top of like a mountain, correct?
Kings Peak.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't really remember. I just remember the show was freaking amazing. Holy crap, he played his ass off. It sounded so good. I was just like, holy crap. I mean, he just totally had it. Like, those old Scorpion songs just sounded freaking mint. It's beautiful to hear those songs played so well. I mean, that's, those are no joke, songs to play,
That album's great too. The album he put out, the Scorpions Revisited album that Uli put out a couple of years back. It's a great album to listen to.
Had a good singer on, John West.
I was trying to remember who was
needed to have a great singer. Those are tough songs to sing too. I mean, that was that's insane.
And Uli's an old school style guitar player. When I saw him, he played 70,000 Tons again, and I was watching him sound check, and I think he had a wah-wah pedal on the floor, but it was basically just a Marshall, a cranked Marshall. And that's where all of his sound comes from. It wasn't like he had all kinds of blinking light effects and everything. He was just plugged right into a Marshall. It even sounded like an old school 70s Marshall that didn't have a preamp on it. Like he was just getting all AC/DC style distortion just by turning the amp like all the way up to 10. And the tone is, it's all in his touch. And his hands and his fingers. It's really amazing.
Some people are just gifted.
John, we're actually talking with you. If you'd like to go next, you're more than welcome. And we'll round it up with me and Sasquatch and Robin. How's that?
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, like I said, I seen him in, was it John Thorpe, PA? And I didn't even know, I didn't even know that the town existed or whatever. I just knew he was playing there. So I took the trip out there, and man, it was well worth it. I mean, it was a good 4-hour trip, or I don't remember for sure, but it was totally worth the trip. I mean, how good the show was, just to hear all those classic Scorpion songs played so well. And yeah, they had a vocalist that they had. He did a great job singing those songs. Those, like I said, those songs are difficult songs to do, so it's no joke. But going with that, I don't know, my favorite songs. I mean, it was tough because a lot of the songs I think are like you were saying, pick your favorite ballads, and a lot of them are like I don't know if they classify as ballads or not because there's like
That's fine.
soft parts in them, like
Yes.
so they kind of have a lot where it's like it'll be like a heavy part and like a little soft part, kind of ballady, and then get
Yeah.
into a little more. But I don't know. A lot of the ones that people said obviously are great ones, like Virgin Killer are amazing, and yeah, Catch Your Train. But Backstage Queen is a killer one too. I love that song. I mean, for the Virgin Killer album in general is just amazing, Crying Days is another one, a great one off. I mean, that's just one of those albums you listen to and you just get totally pumped on. I mean, but everything on there, it seems like the whole band was on fire. The drum playing was really energetic. The vocals,
great drummer on that album. Uli Leonard, awesome.
Yeah, you could just really tell it's just really, really going off, and like it just has like a 70s attack to it, like I don't know how to explain it, but there's just that vibe. It's definitely a lot different than what they went into later on with the more basic drum beats, which are still cool on that stuff, but there's just a different attack to those songs.
Herman Rarafil.
Yeah, I don't remember all their names. But and then a song that's kind of like a 50-50 ballad I have here is Crying Days is a great one.
Yeah.
Off of Virgin Killer too. I mean, I just love that album. And really the vocals are always so amazing in all the soft parts of Scorpions that it makes the ballads just pop like crazy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, was it Born to Touch Your Feelings? That's the great one off of Taken by Force. I mean, that's you just listen to it and you just feel, I mean, you might not know what the hell he's talking about sometimes in the lyrics, but you just feel that he means it, or like he's trying to mean it or something. We'll see. We'll Burn the Sky is another great ballad off that one. He's a Woman, She's a Man's a great song, terrible title maybe, but great song. But they kind of have that. Yeah, maybe they're ahead of their time. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I mean, In Trance has some great ones too.
Oh yeah.
Living and Dying is a great one. Top of the Bill's a great one. I mean, Dark Lady, I mean, the opening track, that's a killer track too, know. I mean, as far as like what's it, I guess the Matthias Jab stuff. Well, I mean, I didn't want to say I like the Love Drive a lot, which has a lot of Michael Schenker on there, so that makes it great. He's one of my favorites too. Yeah, so I mean, off that one, like Coast to Coast, I don't remember all the songs that he played on, but Another Piece of Meat I know is one he played on. I think the song Love Drive Matthias played on. I'm not sure. That's a killer song, and I agree with Will is that Matthias was an amazing guitar player, and I love both guitar players a lot. Uli is amazing, but Matthias is great too. I mean,
underrated.
Yeah, I mean his phrasing and in those songs and it's so different to compare the two, but his phrasing and those riffs, like just how he adds those little ending, like play the riff and then go to like a little solo and play the riff and kind of maybe solo a little under it. He just does these accents to the songs, which is really one of my favorite. It makes him one of my favorite guitar players in metal because he like talks with his guitar, or like answers to the vocals a lot of times, I think, in his stuff. And it's really killer. I mean, my favorite songs, but it's hard to say because I mean, Blackout, I think is just a great album in general.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the title track. I think it's a killer song. I just love the way it ends, with the cracked glass. It's a total metal, total kick-ass metal track. And I really like China White on that one too. I mean,
Nice.
that's such a good song, you know. Like it brings back. It's like almost like the '80s Scorpions playing something that they might have played in the '70s or whatever.
Sure.
But you know, it has
Yeah.
like that kind of vibe too. But it's still, you know, maybe with the more modern production and stuff. Also, just like you know, a good. I don't know. I guess I call it kind of a cheesy metal song, but it's good as Bad Boys Running Wild. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's just a good metal song. I mean, it's the, you know, definitely Love at First Sting is, you know, it was a rough one as far as like a little more commercial, but when that album came out, I was still young and I enjoyed it. You know, it didn't really hit me as being, you know, super commercial. I guess I wasn't so advanced at that time, you know. So I thought I'm still connected to a lot of those songs. I agree with the album after that, the Animal, what's it, Animal?
Animal
Music.
Magnetism.
No, not
Well,
Animal
the one
Magnetism.
after this was Savage.
Savage, yeah, Savage, whatever it was
That one
terrible.
down.
They lost it there. It's just everything that made them great. They lost. But I was gonna say for a ballad, When the Smoke Goes Down is a great one off
it's
that
excellent.
album.
Excellent.
Yeah, so much feeling. Like I said, the vocals are just incredible. I mean, really, he's one of the best vocalists in metal. Probably he's up there with like the greats for sure. Like you know,
For
top
sure, yeah. One of the
five or
greatest frontmen,
definitely
yeah.
top 10. You know, I mean, it's unbelievable. And I know it's, you know, it's kind of poser and cheesy or whatever, but Still Loving You is an amazing song. It's just,
Oh, yeah.
it's an amazing song. It doesn't even matter what kind of music it is. If you want to call it rock, metal, or easy listening or whatever, it's just one of those songs. It's almost like a, you know, I want to know what love is kind of song. You know, it's one of those like songs that everyone just, you know, you just end up like singing or whatever, you know, when you hear it, or you just feel like you just feel like sensitive or something, you know, yeah, I guess, you know, I mean, the guitar work in that song too, it's like a mellow song, but still has a lot of feeling in the guitars and, you know,
It's classic. Like I was just talking, like my reminiscing of seeing it live, and you know, it's just one of the, I think the Scorpions were kind of the kings of those kind of songs. So they really could write these spectacular ballads that true metalheads can like, and also, you know, the casual, you know, radio fan would like stuff like that.
yeah, I think I mean, I don't know the history of power ballads, but they're probably like the king of the power ballad. I mean, if you really listen to almost everything from the first album until nowadays, they have power ballads throughout it. It's almost like
yeah.
the DNA of their songwriting. That's what I was saying. It was difficult because a lot of songs will start off with like kind of a cool, heavy riff and then like break out into like you know, a mellow thing for a while, and then go, you know, they just have that light and shade, and they do it like, you know, it's almost like what Sabbath did, you know, when they got Dio in the band, like the heaven and hell kind of thing, but they have their own way of doing it where it's more of, you know, it's a little more sentimental feeling. Like you feel the passion and what, you know, is going on in the music. So,
Great
I mean,
storytellers.
yeah, as far as Scorpions, I mean, I only seen them live only one time, and that was on that Dio Scorpions and Deep Purple tour. And
Yeah.
I really didn't get to check too much of it out because fortunately I got backstage passes to meet Dio, so I was watching it only on the little TV in the back of the pavilion there. But so it's a good and a bad thing. But I did want to see the Scorpions play one time because I didn't get to see them in the '80s. I don't know why, because I liked them, but it just never happened. Because I even liked the Worldwide Live album, so I wanted to see them, but you know, a couple of tours like that just passed me up, and that was one of them.
Cool.
On that Scorpions tour that you did see him on with Deep Purple and Dio, I was in Vicious Rumors at the time, and we opened the show in Concord, California.
Oh, cool.
Got on the bill. Talk about a fucking dream show.
Yeah.
But I remember being backstage, and Ian Gillan was wearing a dress. Wearing like this like sundress, and he had a daiquiri machine, a frozen daiquiri machine, and he was making daiquiris He was making daiquiris for everybody. Like you walk by and he'd give you a daiquiri. It was the weirdest thing, man.
Did you get a daiquiri from him?
Yeah, no, I didn't have a ball. I was too uncomfortable about the dress, you know. Like,
Hey, if
And,
you're Ian Gillan, you can do whatever you want, I guess.
was Ian Gillan? Now, was this before Ian Gillan performed or after Ian Gillan performed? And he was wearing a dress and handing out daiquiris.
before. This is before. This
Oh
is during
wow!
the show. Yeah.
Yeah, because I
Nice.
remember at that show he was like barefoot. He was wearing like a white, kind of like a white leisure suit or something for the show.
Yeah.
I tell you, you know, talking Ian Gillan, we're a little off subject, but me and Steve Levin actually went to a concert years ago where it was Deep Purple, Ted Nugent, and who else was there, Steve? You remember? Skinner, right? It was
Yep.
Skinner.
Leonard Skinner.
Nugent
Skinner.
and Nugent and Deep Purple, and we're like, "Where's Ian Gillan?" Because we hadn't seen him in so long. We didn't realize he cut his hair. And I mean, he still kicks ass, and he's still a legend. But he kind of looked like somebody's grandpa on stage. He didn't look like he combed his hair or anything. You know, he just goes out and kicks ass still. But we didn't see him in a sundress. But I saw
Prince and I
Deep
said he looked like Patrick Duffy.
I think we're have to loop back in a couple of weeks and do a Deep Purple episode. Sounds like fun.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So
Cool.
John,
Well,
are you-
yeah, I'm pretty much done, I guess, you know. Oh,
Cool,
one
cool.
thing I do want to say is when I got my first guitar, which was was like a Ibanez Roadstar 2, it was like a white, kind of like a white Strat looking one, and I put black tape to have like the two little lines like Matthias I think, had on his
Cool.
guitar, you know. I just thought it was cool as fuck, you know, having those two little lines on there. And I was able to do it with some black electrical
Cool.
tape, you know.
Yeah.
So
I'm
that's
sure
it.
You,
I'm
weren't-
done.
you weren't the only guy doing that back then, for sure.
Did you also buy a striped bodysuit to match his?
I was gonna ask that, actually.
Yeah, I went to the store, tried it on, but it just didn't. It wasn't me, you know.
But we have to get photos of John wearing that just for blackmail purposes, I think. Right?
Nice.
I did think that their outfits were cool. I don't know why, but at the time it seemed pretty cool.
I was never, I've always advertised. I've never been a real hair or glam metal guy, but Scorpions were my hair metal band in the '80s. They changed so much, but they were that party, good time rock. Like Robin's a big Van Halen fan. To me, they went in the same avenues in the '80s for sure.
Oh, one other quick thing as the Scorpions too is my first song that I ever learned on guitar was Rock You Like a Hurricane, our second song I ever learned, because my guitar teacher played in a cover band that played that song, so he taught me that song. And so that should have been in my pick too, but I just felt
there
pretty
you go.
metal as a guitar player learning how to play, going down, down, you know. I mean, that was a pretty metal thing, you know.
For sure. And like the goofy video where they're in the lion, like in the circus lion cage, and the women are all trying to get at them.
Yeah. You know, I had dreams of being metal, playing that song, you know, being in that cage in my room, you know.
The Scorpions have given us a lot of uplifting moments and dreams over the years. They've been such a, they're like a party band at times. Like I consider them a party band, and they make people happy. But you know what? I'm going to jump in line and then go and have Denny and Robin, because Robin never wants to go first. So sometimes I'll have her go last, and then she'll hang out. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about some of the things. I saw the Scorpions for the first time at a concert called Pocono Jam in 1979 in Wilkes-Barre, where the actual horse track is. I think it's where Mohegan Sun is now. But it was like I was a young kid. It was one of the second arena kind of shows. It wasn't really an arena. It was at a horse track. But what a festival it was. It was Ted Nugent, Blackfoot, the Edgar Winter Group, Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush was probably the reason I went there. Other than Nugent at the time, I was a big fan. Henry Paul band, who was just started it up, leaving the Outlaws, and the Scorpions were there. And it was like I wasn't real familiar with them yet, and I discovered them that day, and they were just these guys screaming and yelling, and they were really heavy. And my friend was like, "Who's that?" And we had the program and everything. It's the Scorpions, and of course I went out and bought Love Drive, And then got Tokyo tapes, and I've been a fan ever since. And that day, like beer bottles, like people from this generation that I'm in, when you went to concerts in the late 70s, it was kind of left over from the Woodstock and some of the big festivals in the 70s, but there was M80s flying in the air, just blowing up at all times. Where we were sitting, we were in the box seats of this grandstand, an older grandstand, and there was, seats on the track in front of us where the stage was. And there were beer bottles like raining down. And then my friend got cut. We had to move our seats. It was just like this crazy, it's like, flying glass and, good old boys with the Southern rock bands mixed in with Sabbath and not with Sabbath and with the Scorpions. And then I got to see Claus years ago. It was one of the farewell tours, and I've seen them twice since. But that was their goodbye tour, and I paid for the meet and greet. I think my wife went in and got it for a present, and I got backstage and I went up to Claus, and very nice. And I said, hey, I saw you at this thing when you were opening up for like Edgar Winter, and he goes, that was our first tour, Steve. He's like, that was our first tour, and now you're at our last, so you can say goodbye. And of course, Claus personally, because I haven't bought the meet and greet again, but I've seen them twice since, and I'm glad they're still going. But they did the whole farewell, and they came back with Return to Forever, where they have a song about how they missed the fans and they want us back. So you never trust a farewell tour in heavy metal, as we all know, or classic rock. And I'm just going to run through my songs real quick. I got a lot, so I'll go quick. From the Uli era, Virgin Life. I mean, I love the whole album, Lonesome Crow. No one's really mentioned it tonight. It's really their kind of like acid rock album and progressive, and it's all over the place. Robot Man from Entrance. The Robot Man is such a heavy, groovy song. He's a Woman, Take It From the Forest. Speedy's Coming, of course. They Need a Million from Fly to the Rainbow, which is almost like a folk metal song. Like I can hear a lot of like Amorphous. I don't know if they were influenced by that song, but you hear that whole kind of stuff, like some of the, the mid-pace Amorphous stuff. We'll Burn the Sky from Taking It Force is a beautiful song, and it's about losing something precious in your life. And I've used it for a eulogy for someone already in my life, and I think it's a song that can bring tears to your eyes. It's such a great written song. And from the Jabs era, I'm going to start off with Make It Real from Animal Magnetism, going to the Love Drive album, another piece of meat we've all mentioned. It's one of the heaviest freaking songs ever. Can't Get Enough, Love Drive, Holiday, which is kind of like a ballad, but this like crazy, amazing song about going on vacation, which I always could get in my head. Any Scorpion song I could get in my head. Blackout, Dynamite from Blackout, Love It First Thing, Coming Home. As Soon as a Good Time Roll, maybe it's a poppy hair metal type song. I love it. I'm Leaving You from Love It First Thing, of course. Crazy World, Hit Between the Eyes, which is actually a soundtrack, I believe, for an album, for a movie that Mick Jagger was in, if I'm not mistaken. And
that sci-fi movie?
Yeah, that was a soundtrack. The soundtrack for that album was on Crazy World. I think it's Hit Between the Eyes. And of course, I just got, I dropped them a little bit. Of course, Savage Amusement was a big disappointment, but I still, with the record store, I'd always get it in. I'd always play it. It's the Scorpions album. I gave it a chance. I got out of them in the mid 90s, probably for a while, and I rediscovered them later on. The Humanity One album I love. It's got The Game of Life, the 3-2-1. Someone, John mentioned a song from that album. I can listen to that whole album. And Sting in the Tail, the title track from the 2010 release. Rock Zone's pretty cool. Lorelei, which is a kind of a ballad from that album, is very stick sounding. Going Out with a Bang from Return for Forever, House of Cards, and Rock and Roll Band. And the ballads we've all mentioned, Still Loving You, Smoke's Going Down, House of Cards from Return to Forever. And one of my favorite bands, I've always got Happy. I had a friend back years ago that worked in the shop, and he was always like, Axl Rose. I'm like, you have your Axl Rose, I'm gonna bring Claus mine. And it was like a little battle at work every time. I put on, and Steve knows what I'm talking about. His name was John. It worked for me for a while, and he was like, Axl Rose, and I'm like, Scorpions blow him away. There's a funny little story. But I'll head over to Sasquatch next, and after I get done rambling here, and I hope everybody's enjoying the episode about the Scorps. And welcome.
Nice. Thank you for having me, guys, and nice to see everybody. I guess I was introduced to the Scorpion like early on, like where I grew up in Montreal. It was a bit like the movie Dazed and Confused, like, and I was the kid getting paddled like 4 times a day. But I had 2 older cousins, and they actually introduced me to the Scorpions. And the first song I ever listened to Scorpions, and it's still one of my favorite, is Speedy's Coming. Mostly because of the soloing and the melody, the riffing. Like, to me, it sounded like, you know, I could feel that like Hendrix, Frank Marino vibe to the guitar playing, but at the same time, the Richie Blackmore in rock is one of my favorite like record of all time, and like I could get that vibe from it. I didn't get too much into like in trance. Like I do like Pictured Life. That's one of my like the favorite song from that album. And I find like Scorpion is one of those bands like you can listen to the song and you can remember like where you were or something you did. You always have memory attached to their music.
Yeah.
A lot of it, and then like it kept going into like more heavy stuff. Like I really like Steam Rock Fever. I thought it's a great song. The riff, like
It's a good choice.
it's clean and like right. And my older cousin, like God bless them, like they introduced me to UFO and Tin Lizzy and Scorpions and Judas Priest and all that. So for us, like Scorpion was not in a discussion of like hair metal band. They were part of like the metal bands that we listened at the time.
Yeah.
And same with after that, like, you know, like Michael Schenker came in. I was kind of happy because I love UFO, and it was like, wow, the 2 brothers together. The Love Drive album. Definitely, I love the song Love Drive. I see the similarities to like Lights Out in the way that it's like constructed. But this one, Another Piece of Meat, another great song as well, that I really enjoyed. And then like so I find like in 1980, I feel like a lot of bands start to like change sonically from like very loosey jamming vibe to like it's almost like Black Sabbath, Evan and L, Judas Priest, British Steel, Scorpion, Animal Magnetism. There's a lot of bands that were, I don't know what happened, but they became very like not like very the structure was straight up, like it's almost like AC/DC or somebody influenced all these bands to like be like, hey, you know, riff, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, chorus, solo, and then but it's and like I'm in this like beer league hockey team, and we have a cover band with some of the other guys on the team, and we're called Sock Tape. And and every time we get to jam, like we play like The Zoo, we play Another Piece of Meat, like we play all these covers because we grew up on that music. And for us, like it does bring us back to that time. So like Animal Magnetism, the song itself, I really enjoy also.
Oh yeah.
And in 1980, I was lucky enough to see the Scorpion twice in the same month. I'm a huge Ted Nugent fan, but like so I saw him twice on concert, and both times Scorpions were opening for Ted Nugent. One time I saw them with Pat Travers, like amazing. Wow. Pat Travers, just amazing. Oh, yeah. Like, and then I saw him with Def Leppard, who was just on tour for the first time ever in the USA. And like I already knew that all the albums from the Scorpions, but they really focus on like Love Drive and Animal Magnetism, like songs and stuff. But like I said, like it's Scorpions, like, you know, you're you know, like John was playing an incantation and he's saying he likes, like, you know, like some of these ballads. I'm the same. Like You know, the
They're
first
good.
time the first time like I made out with two girls was like to like when the smoke is going down. I'm gonna use like made out just for the
Epic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but like
Hanging out with
you
two girls, they had the incense going, the black light posters, a couple of water pipes.
But every time I hear that song now, guess what memories comes to my mind, right?
Sounds like pretty good one.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
So
Once again, I go back to the party rock atmosphere here with the sport.
and same to like lot like Will and those guys. Like I love Blackout. When it came out, for me, like it really made like Scorpion as part of like Judas Priest, Screaming for Vengeance, and a lot of the band like Maiden and all that at that time. Like even though they were like they had a longer history, they were part of the conversation. And you know, like the song Blackout right away was like I loved it. And you know, and we had lots of we had a lot of girls around us, and we could not play them like Venom, Welcome to Hell. So we would put like Scorpions, you know, Blackout, so they stick around and listen to like No One Like You and stuff like that.
That's a good song, though. No One Like You's killer song. That solo's awesome, and No One Like You.
So like like I even like the song Coming Home. I think it's a great song, like good riff, Dynamite, China White. So like all these songs, you know, they bring memories, bring me back to when I grew up, like back in Montreal, and just like hanging out with my cousin, my family, my friends, and stuff like that.
Nice.
The other thing also is like we did an episode on Immortal like a few weeks ago, and I was saying like up in Canada when I'm driving in like snowstorms, I like to listen to At the Heart of Winter.
Sure.
And like somehow like the black metal kind of works for me. But the other thing that really works for me is like Send Me an Angel, and like I don't know why. Like I always start to listen to these songs when it's snowing. I don't know why, but I feel like you see the snowstorm in front of you, you're driving at night. It's just great. But that's it. Like Scorpions, you know, like a lot of people don't know about the back catalog. A lot of people don't know and take the time to like go and find these older albums. But please do. There's a lot of great stuff in there. There's always something new to discover. Like there's always something new to like, oh, I didn't catch that song or something like that.
You mean Blackout wasn't their first album?
Well, people don't you know, they don't realize that Scorpions had a whole nother, you know,
career.
Like I
They
mean,
were a different band before Herman Rarebell took over. So that's basically what happened to them. They had a lot of influence when Rarebell started to get in with them. My management worked with them a lot, and they were always writing great music, but they definitely made a conscious focus to go commercial when Roth was gone, and we're
gonna welcome to the show. He looks like he's all dressed up in Cinco de Mayo regalia. Chris Caffrey.
I'm not dressed. I put a different hat on.
Sabotage is here.
I put a different hat on. I can't really. Again, I can't stay long. I don't know if you guys were familiar with.
Run you right through. Danny,
thought it was one of the dwarfs.
If you were familiar with the band, Metallium,
Chris.
If you were familiar with the band Metallium, the bass player, the guy who formed that thing, he died. He was flying one of those little mini planes that you fly by yourself, and he crashed it last Sunday. So we're in the process right now. We were actually working on a new Metallium reunion record for me and like the original guys in the band, but right now a bunch of us are all piecing together parts of music to make a song for him, and Henning is singing, and we're just putting that together. And then Oliva's, it's funny because I have John Oliva like in contact with me 10-15 times a day, exchanging songs and riffs. So this little rumor that we had discussed about the Sabotage thing, I mean, we're working. So I mean, I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed, but this is the most creative work I've done with Oliva on Sabotage music since like 1999 2000. So this is really exciting for me. But he always sends me, he works during the day and I never work at night, and he sends me these riffs and these demos, and he doesn't have any kind of recording system at home. He uses his voice recorder, and he just sends me these things, and he's like, I need you to put something before this, something in the middle of this, and something after that. So I get these, and I have to sit there and find the tempo and put riffs in and then send them to him the next day, and hopefully he doesn't lose the emails. But I just wanted to tap in on this because I mean, I'm sure everybody named like pretty much all the songs that I would pick. There is one that I really,
you're gonna have to pick them. We'll have to find out, Chris.
yeah, I really loved everything about the Uli Roth era of the Scorpions because it was just so really exciting as a guitar player, not only to listen to Uli's playing, but to listen to what those two did together. If you listen to Tokyo tapes, that's one of the most incredibly tight stereo guitar performances that I've ever heard in my life. Every little click when you listen to the dun, 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 I mean, those guitars, those two played like a robot when they were together. I mean, Rudolph is such a great rhythm guitar player, and obviously Uli to play anything anybody's playing, but those two together were a machine. There was just something about that stuff. And one of the songs that I really loved was Catch a Train because it threw in the you know, because Uli did a lot of the harmonic minor stuff that Yngwie had taken and a lot of other guitar players did, but he also had the major stuff in his guitar playing that like the Eric Johnsons wound up using and things like that. Catch a Train was one of those solos that was just so different. And for me, I really love that one. And I had a chance when Uli was playing in New York City, I had the chance at the BB King's to play Catch a Train with him.
Nice.
And Sales. And he actually, when we finished Catch a Train, he came up to me, he was like, that was very impressive. You did it exactly like I played it. I was like, wow, it's because I've been playing it for like 30 years. You probably wrote it in 10 minutes. It took me 30 years to learn it, but he's a really, really, really nice guy. I mean, I've spent a lot of time hanging out with him. He was very tight with some of my friends with Dean and some of the other things. But yeah, I love Tokyo tapes. I mean, of course I love the new Scorpions. There's nothing not to like about what they did. And Matthias, I think he was one of those people like Randy Rhoads. He used to double his solos a lot. So that was one of the sciences he did in lead playing. Besides the fact that they were great solos, he would play them twice and three times and really make the solos come alive. That's why I heard a lot of those solos very big in the studio. He was big on doubling his leads, and there was just so many great things in all those records. And I mean, they definitely were, in my opinion, as far as those bands go, from that era, they were the king of the ballads. I mean, it was funny when you said pick a ballad. I mean, you can't, there's just so many of them. I mean,
top 30 ballads, Chris.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's for me. If I was to pick, like I said, anything, I would say like Pictures Life and Sales of Sharon and Entrance, and you know, everybody has another piece of meat in the zoo and Dynamite, of course, like you said. And you go to the ballads like Holiday and Sunday Morning. It's like those songs just had these melodies, and the melodies were in those guitar riffs too, those little ding, 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 ding. I mean, they were like ones that you would go to play countries like Greece and places like Montreal or something, and these kids would be singing those riffs because those riffs were just as much as a part of the melody of those songs as the singing were, you know. So you would hear a crowd full, thousands of people that would be going, ding, 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 ding. You know, it's like those kind of riffs that the crowd sings the riff to you because it was so melodic. But yeah, there's definitely two different eras though. I mean, it's so bizarre because it's the only time I think that's ever really happened when there was two different singers, when it's the same singer and the band really created two different worlds. I mean, Van Halen, you had the Sammy and the Dave times, and you had the Ronnie Dio and the Ozzy times of Sabbath, the Maiden times of this and that. It's like you had two different worlds in the Scorpions with the same singer, which was a really bizarre thing because that's just how strong Uli Roth and that heavy Schenker influence was back into the Scorpions. And it just, like I said, when they went into that Dieter Dierks and Herman Rarebell mode, and they started going towards hitting the radio. I mean, it was incredibly successful for them, but they definitely went to the formulas with a lot of their things they were doing. I mean, they were very good at it. And not for nothing, man, I don't think there were many live bands that were as good as the Scorpions consistently. That band live was a machine. I never saw a bad Scorpions performance in my life, not even one that was off the mark at all. I mean, they were always just a machine. You would see them and it was just like, it was almost too perfect. They were that good. They were just freaking great. But I definitely have to continue and run, but you guys have a
All right, Chris, I'm
I
glad
didn't want to miss this one because I really love that band. But and I like seeing them now. I like Mickey being there because I think he's kind of he's added a cool life to it. And Mickey's been a friend of mine for a long time, so I know he was really heartbroken when Lemmy died. So I mean, the Scorpions I think was a really good thing for him to get back and put that energy that he had into making that band come back to life again. But you guys have a great night. Be safe, and I'll see you next time. Good night.
Take care, Chris. Stay safe, buddy. All righty. Here comes Chris Caffrey. There goes Chris Caffrey. It was awesome that he popped in for a little bit. And Robin got to go even last. The last in line. Last but not
Benny,
least.
are you done? Were you done? I think
Benny.
you're done. You're on mute.
I'm done. I'm on mute.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if he cut you off or not.
Okay.
It's Chris. Who cares?
Yeah.
So basically it's weird, you guys are talking about 70,000 tons of metal, and that's one great thing about 70K is the fact that a person like Uli is on it and hanging out and doing his thing, and it's like, holy shit. I remember at one time too, he did a guitar workshop right next to the first year, right next to the merch room. So I tried to watch, but I couldn't really see because I was so busy, but I could hear it and everything. And I mean, and stuff like that. And even, with Michael Schenker on there too, that was awesome for me also. And him just hanging, they all just hang out and you're like, whoa. And, they're doing cover songs with other musicians from there. It's just a whole different,
Sounds like a party.
Yeah, it's just a different killer way to experience them. And Uli was probably one of the coolest. I mean, he hung out all night long, wore his, Uli outfit and just was Uli for, the entire length of the cruise, basically. You know what I mean?
That's
So that
awesome.
was pretty rad. I don't really remember certain bands hearing them for the first time, but for some reason, I remember the first time I experienced the Scorpions was this guy, Jimmy, in my neighborhood. He was restoring this old Barracuda. And he was older than me. I don't know how much older, but I was pretty young. And Mom, please turn this off if you're watching this at this point. But, and other people, I was smoking something that could have been illegal at that time, and I was really young, and he had that, and we would sit in the car and he would play Scorpions Virgin Killer. So I don't know, I mean, I was probably underage stuff, but that was one of my first memories of the Scorpions. And I think Chris brought up the point of, different bands, same singer. I think, with MTV, that probably didn't, or I should say did help in the change of how the Scorpions went from that period too. Cause it totally, with the videos and their outfits and, the songs and everything. That's just my thought on that. And what else? I don't know if I should tell the story. Anyway, I've seen.
Go ahead.
No,
You mentioned it.
Now we hear it.
I'll tell it after.
We'll leave the record
Oh,
button.
come.
One of my on my memory on Facebook today came up about the Scorpions the last 2 days because my band Gruesome, we did a festival in Mexico and Scorpions were playing that night and I was so excited and it was raining but it was so awesome. It was muddy. I lost a shoe. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it has to be good if you lost a shoe.
It was so good. I mean, it was like, I want to say like 40,000 people, maybe more, and just it's raining and the Scorpions are playing, and it was so good.
Sounds
It was so
epic.
much fun. And I
Muddy,
did see them. And one of my favorite concerts was the Monsters of Rock tour.
Oh,
Like that was I mean, come on. I think every single one of my favorite bands was on there almost. So it was like insane.
Metallica must have been on there then.
Huh?
Metallica was-
must have been
Metallica
there.
was on it. Yep, it was what, 88 or something. And then I saw them the last time they came through was with Queensryche. And I saw them on that. And that was awesome. And it's probably the first time I bought a concert ticket in a very long time, because I had to go to the show and I wanted really great seats. So like I actually purchased tickets. So
That was Sting of the Tail.
I just remember I got this thing out of like it was somewhere in the thing.
Oh, Crazy World. No, that was the
Crazy
newer one.
World.
Crazy World was
So
the latter
I got
one.
that.
Well, that's the one that they did with Megadeth in some parts too.
Yeah, no, yeah, we had Queensryche and then I got my
Yeah.
closer.
Nice.
So those are all my things in close reach. I have other things here, but as far as like songs, I'm gonna do it a little bit different, I think.
That's fine.
You guys seem like, for me, I did really like a lot of songs off Crazy World.
Mhm.
I do like Tease Me, Please Me, You Can Throw Tomatoes at Me Later, but I really like that song.
You don't mind that song.
Okay,
don't mind.
it's so fun. Like, I mean, the video is ridiculous, but it's
Great
like,
video. Great video.
it's ridiculous. It's so funny. But I mean, there's a lot of good songs on that record, and you think about it, you're like, oh, that's like new Scorpions, and that album's like 30 years old or something, and it's
That's
like, oh,
not
that's
new
like new
anymore.
Scorpions. So it's kind of strange when you think about it like that. Let's see. And then, I mean, I love everything on Blackout. I love everything. I love it for Sting.
Yeah.
I mean, Bad Boys Running Wild, I'm Leaving You, the song Blackout, like all of them are fantastic. I mean, and then you go back further, and I'm glad Chris brought up the Tokyo tapes, because I want to say that's probably one of the best live records,
Sure.
that's out there. And we didn't
Yes.
talk about albums, but that's,
Yeah.
up there. And of course, like Weird Virgin Killer, I mean, Backstage Queen, I love that freaking song.
Yeah.
I
killer.
think I've sung it with Will a bunch of times, I want to say, if I remember accurately. I make him play it, and I sing it, like I just love that song.
Will
And
you sing it for Will tonight?
maybe after I'll sing it. Maybe.
Okay. After we're not recording, she waits for
Yeah, maybe I'll sing it to him.
when Rock Fantasy Files goes dark.
Yeah. The after hours. And Jesus, man, I don't know. Entrance, my God, come on.
Yeah.
And then, He's a Woman, She's a Man, fantastic. Sales of Charon is probably like, I'm gonna say that's probably my favorite
Cool.
song by them. It's just
Nice.
so good. That's my favorite song by them. But
Awesome.
my story's so stupid, but I'll say it because I'm done already. I mean, every song from like past, but my other song is, okay, I was like not a good kid, I guess, and we used to hitchhike to the beach, and like there was one guy that that we hitchhiked with, and he looked like Herman from the Scorpions, and he played drums, but we knew it wasn't him. And like I wound up being friends with like him and his other two friends for like years after. I lost touch with them, but yeah, we used to call him Herman the German, and he would be like, what? Yeah, like, he's like, what are you trying to say? I'm like, dude, come on, So,
Did you rock his balls? No.
no.
I'll tell you a funny story. I used to hang out with a guy that worked in the pro wrestling business with me, and he was not a metalhead at all. He might have he's like, oh, Scorpions, Gorky Park. That's the only song you would know.
And that's another one. Like I finally was in Russia, and like I
When's it
just wanted to
change?
go to Gorky Park. I don't there was no reason, like there's nothing there. But they sang it, and I was like, oh, I kind of want to go there. And it was kind of far, and nobody wanted to go with me.
So he would drag me out after wrestling conventions and after wrestling shows to to like, oh, let's go out and pick up chicks. And I'm like, oh, that's not my scene. I'm hanging out in like these awful music bars. And he's like, just tell him you're the drummer from the Scorpions and talking to German.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I'm not doing that. But that was his idea. He's like, oh yeah. So I was drinking. I was like, I'm humming the alphabet from the Scorpions.
Oh my God. But yeah, no, I mean, the Scorpions are, yeah. And of course, you know, Rudolph Schenker, I mean, come on, is like, you know, nobody, we got to mention him here.
Of course.
I have to, like, so, but I have other videos on my Facebook from the, not from the Mexico show, but from the last show, and Mickey D's drum solo and some
Okay.
solos of the Scorpions that are pretty rad. Like, I thought,
When I
'cause I didn't
got to
videotape
see-
much because I was too excited.
Cool.
So, you know, but I think that's it for me.
Nice. When I saw that tour at the it was at Madison Square Garden. It was Megadeth, Scorps, and I got a side on the side of the stage. So I got to actually see, Mickey D perform really well, and he brought so much to the lineup now.
Yeah, it's like it's completely, you know, it's a whole other, you know, he did that drum solo and it was like, whoa, it like just totally changed,
Yeah.
you know, the vibe of the Scorpions for a minute, you know.
I was
I
thinking
thought-
of it. I was thinking of one tour that I actually saw in '82. I saw the Blackout tour at the Glens Falls Civic Center in upstate New York, up in the Adirondacks, and it was with Rainbow, and I believe Riot was there too, and Coney Hatch I think was on that bill.
Oh my God. What he has.
I know.
Yeah. I remember being a young kid. I used to go to Glens Falls Civic Center a lot. There's actually a hockey rink up there. Adirondack Red Wings used to skate there. So, anybody else want to add any more Scorpions memories for some final statements for the episode tonight? A gig they saw or anything else they forgot to mention earlier, John or Tony or?
I want to do an honorable mention for the Herman's the German solo album. That's a pretty damn good
I have
album.
that.
I like that album.
He
The
did
song
too.
rock. What's that?
He did two. I've got
Oh,
back in my records, but he did
I
one
didn't know
that
about the
had
second one.
all German singers, like German singers guest on it. And then some of those songs got re-recorded for the one that came out in America with Dokken and the guy from Great White and all on it,
Okay.
Yeah, on the first one, Minoru from Loudness does the song "Rock Your Balls."
Mhm.
Oh,
That
wow.
song, fucking awesome. It kicks ass, dude. It's a great tune.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Fucking,
I just wanted to,
loudness.
to give "Rock Your Balls" a shout out.
You said, I think that's your favorite song.
Yeah.
We'll try to find a video and put a link to it in the description of the episode.
I mean, that's
Cool.
one thing, like some of the titles and lyrics are definitely, you know, amazing. You know,
So as we're wrapping things up here, Will, what's going on in the Death Angel camp? I hear you guys are doing a streaming show again coming up.
Yeah. At the end of the month, I should know the exact date, but I don't. I think it's May
I think
29th.
it's May, I'll tell you.
Go to deathangel.com and find out, right?
It's at the end of the month. I know that. We just
May 29th.
May 29th. I knew it.
Like
On Saturday.
Memorial Day weekend, right?
That's right. That's right. And we're doing a set of songs, a bunch of rarity tracks, and the songs that this lineup have never played ever, and a couple of songs that any lineup of Death Angel have never played live. So
Nice.
it's cool. We're doing a lot of stuff from Frolic Through the Park. So yeah, it was really challenging playing some of those old songs, especially that album. That album's so wacky.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of hard to replicate the energy of a 12-year-old drummer or however old he was on that album.
Young.
So, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and it should be great. I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. We'll make sure we'll get everybody to pay for that little stream and have a little party on the patio or wherever now that the summer months are coming. I watched the Christmas show and I got the shirt in the mail a few weeks ago, and I thought that was a fun evening watching you guys play.
Cool, man. Cool.
Always great to have you on the show. John, what's going on over at the channel at the Lair of the Alchemist? What kind of you guys got going on?
We're just doing our thing, the album reviews. I've got some special stuff coming up. I haven't nothing 100% confirmed yet, but just anybody out there, Lair of the Alchemist on YouTube, heavy metal, hard rock reviews and interviews and stuff like that. So
Excellent, excellent. Mr. McAtee, what's going on in the incantation camp?
I don't know, just same old thing, just working on some metal, and I've been pretty busy, you know, working on a couple shows coming up. Actually going to be on Pete Pardo's show again at the end of the month, doing a rating of the Suffocation albums.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, besides that, have a couple other shows. Got another episode of the Latham Files coming up.
Nice.
And I don't know, I think we're doing a Necrophagia one next week. So
Yeah,
that's cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
What's number one? What's your number one suffocation?
can't tell you.
Yeah,
you
I
can't-
don't want to ruin the show. No, the funny thing about it is that actually I'm not was never a super big Suffocation fan, so it's going to make it even more interesting because I actually, when they first started, I wasn't too much of a fan of them. I was kind of like, I thought they were a little bit too thrashy for that time. I liked a little more dirtier death metal sound. Took me a while to get into them, so I'm not like one of those long time. I'm one of the newbie Suffocation fans, you know.
I'm like doing the at you.
Everybody does. I know everyone loved them back in the day. I was just like,
Yeah.
I don't get it. I didn't get it. To me, a
Okay.
little too thrashy, but I like them now. I think they're killer.
Cool.
Pierced from within. Pierced from within.
That's a good one.
And
I like the one. What was it? The Despise the Sun album. I thought was really good.
Great.
That Dave Corals
Great.
played on. Yeah, that one riff in there in the first song. I can't remember the title offhand, but they dropped down like to an odd key in the note, and I'm just like, that's perfect. I love that they totally did the asshole note, and I love when bands throw an asshole note in their riff. You know.
They
Yeah,
were the kings of
Suffocation,
that,
great.
hitting that low, super low notes that were just like,
Yeah.
Suffocation
You just
was
do
played
something
like-
so heavy, and all of a sudden you make it even heavier. Like throw on,
Yeah.
you know, some extra sludge on there. You know.
Suffocation, are, you know, good friends of Rock Fantasy. They played like 3 of our anniversary shows at the Chance over the years. So
Yeah, great guys. Totally great
Cool.
guys for sure.
Denny, what do you got going over at Aggression? John was whispering saying you got some new music coming out.
Yeah, we do have an EP coming out May 28th via Blood Blast distribution. And we're just doing pre-prod for like a full length, you know, learning how to play guitar, learning how to use a tuner, learning how to sing. So no, we're just like writing new music, and we're gonna head into the studio at the end of June. Trying to keep as busy as possible during this horrible period of our lives. So you know, writing music, having fun. That's it.
All you can do, right? And watching hockey, he is too, I'm sure. Robin, what's going on in your camps and your bands right now?
When is this airing?
It'll be airing after you make the announcements. So.
Okay, yeah. So we're doing 2 gruesome shows in Florida. And then I'm almost done finally with the new Castrator record. It's only been 4 years trying to get it done, it seems like. So
That's
hopefully
cool.
It's
that'll be
gonna be a
done soon.
masterpiece.
It's good. It better be a masterpiece.
It's gonna be like it's gonna be like You're the Wall or something, you know.
Like,
I wouldn't go that far, but you know, but it would be nice for it to finally be done. So it's like, just trying to get that done, and hopefully, trying to get New Jercada done, and possibly working on gruesome songs. I think Matt's gonna stay in town a while to do
okay,
that.
cool. Nice.
So finally something. Hoping touring will come back, and that's
And then she won't be on the Rock Fantasy Files, and she'll be at work.
I want to
One
be at
day-
work.
one day-
I like it
one
here,
day
but I like working.
One day, eventually, she'll be like Chris Caffrey. She'll be popping in between a band for 5 minutes. Hey, Steve, here's our hit. There's my songs for the night.
It would be like, here, hi, okay. So, Because I'm usually super busy, so you know.
Of course you are. Yeah, yeah.
But-
And hopefully I'll be there, instead of filming a show, I'll be there buying a shirt from you.
Yes,
Seeing
I hope
some
so.
guys
I hope
before.
all of you. I hope I see everybody. I'm telling you.
And I guess we're gonna wrap this up. Next week, our episode, we're gonna talk about the AC/DC Bon Scott era. And the week after that, we're gonna be visiting the band Queen. And we're gonna be talking about Queen. And next week, we also have an episode on the Misfits. A couple special guests hopefully set up for that. And please go out and support all the bands. And Tony, you're my center square and a first timer, so you get to say goodbye to everybody tonight. Your final statement there.
Well, I appreciate you having me on today, tonight. Great band to talk about. Love the Scorpions. It was tough to pick 10 songs.
Mhm.
There's so much stuff. I mean, I've even followed them after. I mean, Love at First Sting was pretty much it, but I
Yeah.
went back and started listening to some of that stuff that they did later, and there's some of it's good here and there, you know, some
Yeah.
good stuff. And I really would love to see them in concert again, because the last time I saw them was they played at one of the M3 rock festivals, and Klaus had laryngitis. And instead of canceling the show, they came out and he sang about the best that he could. Still a great show. I mean, he still got the rest of the band up there just kicking ass. Had a couple of guest singers came up.
I remember that because I saw
remember
them at the PNC in Homedale, New Jersey. I think the night before or after, and they were questioning of canceling the show, but Claus sang and he kept saying for people to sing along because had some problems with his
Exactly.
breathing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
And
was
instead
right
of
around the
canceling, they pulled
M3.
it off, you know, and everybody was happy. Everybody was singing along, and it was cool. So I really hope to get to see him again and get to see him with Mickey D as well, because I haven't seen that yet. So that's cool.
Nice.
I'm ready to see some live music. I mean, I've been going to a few, you know, socially distanced rock concerts here and there, but I'm ready to go back out there full on
Cool.
again. You know, I miss it.
Well, I thank everybody for joining us tonight, and we'll see you next time. Stay safe and stay metal.
All right. Thanks.